Chris Harrison with AIM 1040, and I wanted to tell you a little bit about what happened just this past week or two as we were ministering out in the village, in Kuamong village out in Thailand. And the Lord moved so mightily in a home, actually two homes. They were sisters, and both of them so sick. One of them sick with stage 4 kidney failure and not able to leave her bed, not able to leave her house, in pain from top to bottom, having to be brought to the doctor all the time. The other one was not able to close or open her left hand, and from the waist down, not able to use her legs. Someone had to help her up, and then she could shuffle her feet and maneuver around with, holding a walker, and that's the only way she could get around. We had someone that gave their life to the Lord just a few weeks ago, and her name is Neat. And these two ladies were her aunt and her mother. So after she gained enough confidence in us, she said, "Why don't you come and pray for my aunt and my mother who are very sick?" And so we went over, we prayed for them, we shared the gospel with them, and after sharing the gospel with them, both of them received the gospel of Jesus Christ. We also laid hands upon them to be healed of their diseases. Now you have to understand, these two haven't been able to go visit each other for many years because they're both so ill. They live right next to each other, and yet they couldn't see each other or talk to each other or fellowship, and it made them very sad. And so as soon as we left the woman's house who had the kidney failure and many other problems wrong with her, God touched her in such a powerful way. We didn't find out for a week what happened, but we found out the next week what happened. But God healed her body within just 3 days. She was so strong. She was able to eat things she hasn't eaten. She was able to sleep throughout the night. She said in the past she would close her eyes, but her ears would keep her awake at night. She could never sleep. Now she sleeps every night. She's able to go to the restroom. She's not having to go get the treatment at the hospital. And she's been totally healed by God's power. And now she actually, that day when we prayed for her, the first day, she followed us over to her sister's house. The first time she had walked over there, as we shared the gospel with her sister. Her sister received the gospel. We laid hands upon her, and the Spirit of God touched her in a mighty way. She cried. She received God. She received the gospel. We did not get a report that day of all that had happened, but we came back the next week and thankfully had video footage that day, because on that day they began to tell us what God had done. She began to demonstrate, the one sister began to demonstrate that her hand could open and close now. And she said, although she was still mostly lame from the legs, from the waist down, she said, "I felt something like a wind blowing down my legs." And that's when I told her, "You know what? God has healed you. And so now you just need to stand up and walk." And I gave her the command to stand up and walk. And when I did, I took her by the hands and lifted her up. And she held on to me really tightly, and she took a couple of steps afraid, but she did it. And then I said, "No, we're going to let go now, and you're going to take steps without my help at all, without any help, no cane, no anything." And so she did, and she took 2 steps, and everybody began to rejoice. And then she felt a little bolder, and I think the last time we did it, and she wasn't holding on to me, she took 5 steps and even turned around and sat down on her own. This is something she has not been able to do before. Now they go back and forth to visit one another. They're excited. They've opened their home for a house church to be planted in their home. This is a long-time Buddhist home, more than 60 years, both of these homes. Now they're combining as a house church, one being healed of stage 4 kidney failure as well as many other elements, the other one being healed of being lame and also of not being able to use her arm and many other pain in her body. God has healed them, God has saved them, and God has planted a church there. He's doing those things and a lot more all over the villages of Thailand. I can't wait for you to hear about all the things that are happening and are going to continue to happen in Jesus' name.